Flex people, what's going on? Welcome to United View. Welcome to another Flex's View, where I debunk what happened during the game, let you know how I'm feeling. This probably usually is about the time where I flip-flop my opinions and go, actually, but I'm not doing none of that. Today is about Mainoo. I wanted to have sort of my own time and chance to just kind of unpack Kobe with some bigger observations that I've had during the last sort of few games. Overall, an amazing goal as well. Like, he's just showing so much facets, and I want to talk about like what his best position is, and going forward, how we should best utilize him, how we should best build a team around him. If not a team around him, then definitely a midfield around him for the future, because he is the future. It's not Bruno, it's not Casemiro, it's not Scott McTominay, it's not Christian Eriksen, it's not Sofian Amrabat, it's Mainoo, and we'll have to wait and see what the plan is with Mason Mount next season. But we definitely know that the plan and the future of Man United's midfield for the next 10 years, well, it should be, is Mainoo. First of all, the goal yesterday, unbelievable. Do you know what? It wasn't until I watched it back quite a few times properly, because when you're at the ground and you're reacting and you've only seen it once, you haven't really got time to watch proper replays and get a real gist to how the build-up happened. And you see it once, and oh my gosh, when you see it again, it's just a joke. It really, really is a joke. And even though I'm not really talking about Bruno today, his finish was ridiculous. Again, you only see it once, and it's really quick in the stadium. I didn't realise how he sort of cut across the ball so cleanly and sort of swerved it away from Kelleher, who was like at full straight. What a goal. First time as well. An unbelievable goal from Bruno. So first of all, I want to say that. But secondly, Kobe's goal was just absolutely different class. So what is his best position? Where are we seeing him deployed? And where would we like to see him deployed? This is to you guys as well. I want to know what you lot think at home. Right. I think when we look at Kobe, we have to look at, and it's really early. The sample size is still relatively small. This is his first breakthrough season. And some of the things that he was saying were absolutely brilliant after the game, which shows even more class about him. It shows that the maturity level that he has. But when we look at Kobe, let's look at the top attributes that he has. I think he's fantastic with the ball at his feet. I think that's where he really excels. You can talk about physicality. We'll do that a little bit later, and leg speed and power and these types of things. But where he's fantastic is manipulating the ball, giving it to him in tight spaces. He can wriggle away from challenges and evade challenges. With space, he can carry the ball really well and then pick the right pass. So his distribution, I would say, is good as well. Less so long passes. I don't see him as the player to be spraying balls left and right from deep, drilling in passes, fading it to the other side of the pitch, 30, 40, 50 yards to people's chest, to people's feet. I don't see him as that. If he got time and space, he can pick a pass, but less so with that. It's the short to mid-range passing for Kobe and the progressive passing. I think that's the key there. The progressive passing. When he receives the ball in tight spaces or in central areas, either in the middle third or just coming into the attacking third, he wants to play forward, which really, in modern day football, shouldn't even be as refreshing and as celebrated as it is when we see it. It's because, in my opinion, call me old school, say, oh, Flex, you're just a dinosaur, whatever. I think a lot of players these days, a lot of the modern game now, it is a rarity to see good quality technical players who want to just pass forward. Not this sideways safety rubbish, not this backwards safety rubbish, which is lame and easy to do with time and space. These are professional footballers. These are playing in the Premier League. When there's no press and everyone's got time and space and it's lovely, any centre midfielder can knock it about side to side and pass backwards. Players of old, players in, if the Attitude Era of the Premier League, or the mid-2000s or the 90s, or whatever amazing generation or era of football you want to talk about, even your more average midfielders would always pass forward. It was just a basic requirement of playing central midfield. So now when we see somebody who likes to pass forward and likes to make things happen, it's like, oh my God, and he passes forward. Do you know what I mean? Basic requirement. Now, that's not me taking away from Kobe, because he's fantastic at doing it. But I'm just saying it's even more eye-catching in today's game, whether it's Kobe or another player from another team that always wants to be on the front foot and play forward. We celebrate it and we laud it because it stands out so much. Because there's so many bog standard midfielders who I think get lauded and praised and stuff. I'm like, they don't even pass forward. Do you know what I mean? But back to Kobe, his best attributes for me is exactly that. The way he progresses the ball forward, he's fantastic on the ball. He can take the ball on a half turn and half spaces. He can scan, he can evade challenges, and he's better when he operates further forward. We've seen it. He's got an eye for goal, which is unbelievable. When we look at the goal against Wolves, absolutely brilliant. And I know it goes under the radar, but the goal he scored against Newport, first time finish, edge of the box, finds the bottom corner, was a fantastic calm finish as well. And then you see this type of goal against Liverpool in a big game against your biggest rivals in front of the Stretford end, which should have been the winner. And he just puts it in the top corner like it's nothing. Again, walks off, runs off, calm, not over animated, not over excited. It's like he expects to do this. And when you see clips of him in the under 23s, or if you've watched him in under 18, sorry, you'll see he was doing that. He was doing that. He was taking players on, driving with the ball, getting to the edge of the box, and impacting games in the final third, in the attacking third. And that is what we've seen glimpses of for us. So for me, his best position is at 8. His best position is further forward. And he needs that security and that protection in our midfield to be able to do that, for us to get the best out of him, and for Kobe to sort of get the best out of his career and to flourish. And that leads us to some of the deficiencies, not really just in Kobe's game, but why it's more difficult for him to do that right now in our midfield. Because as we see, we are still as open as anything. The games are like a basketball match, and midfielders are being hung out to dry. In this case, we're talking about Kobe. He's having to cover way too much space. And one of the, when we have the star boy, which he is the star boy. He's going to be world class. I've got no doubt about it. He's unbelievable. One of the things he's less good at, I would say, is that sort of speed to get around the pitch, like physically. Like he's not a powerful runner off the ball. And I'm not talking about park the spaces that he has to cover, because like you said, like I'm talking about here. If we lessen those gaps, if we plug those holes and be more compact, this would be less apparent, by the way, this deficiency in his game. This is a really easy thing to sort of cover by the tactical setup. And Kobe ain't even finished bloody growing. He's only 18, going on 19 later on this month. Like, he's not even a man yet. He's a teenager. So he will become more physical. He will become more powerful. He will fill out some more. But already he's very stocky. He's very strong with how he is and how he can look after the ball and shield it. But his leg speed to sort of keep up with players sort of penetrating through the middle, or if somebody, his recovery speed, that's the one I'm saying. Sometimes he does have this sort of trot, doesn't he, where he kind of looks like he's not running that fast. But that's the side of his game that he doesn't excel in, which is why when we rebuild this midfield, Kobe needs the perfect partner. He needs somebody athletic next to him. He needs somebody dominant next to him. And he needs somebody who can hold the fort and say, Kobe, you go. You go up there, go and influence the game for us. Be a match winner, be an assist getter, be a goal contributor in midfield, up there in the final third. You don't worry about me or us back here with the back three. Or if the fullbacks have gone, then however many's left back there. But don't worry about us. You go and do what you need to do. And that's why when you look at the England setup for Kobe Mainoo, Jesus, it just looks so irresistible, because you've got Declan Rice in there, who is exactly the type of player that I'm talking about, that Kobe needs. Now, there aren't a million Declan Rices out there, but when Ineos get in, that must be a prime top target priority. Yes, we got to sort out centre-backs. Yes, we got to sort out full-backs. We've got a lot to sort. But if we want to see the best of Kobe and stop getting hung out to dry, him playing next to Casemiro any longer in this type of midfield, and I'm not just hanging Casemiro out to dry, it could easily be Amrabat, it could be McTominay, they're all not suitable, it could be Eriksen, it'd all be the same problem. They don't have the profile that a Declan Rice does have, or a Paulinho has. Someone who can cover a lot of grass, someone who can firefight, someone who can marshal the midfield and leave either 2 8s or a 10 to go and do their thing and say, don't worry about it, I've got this. And that is a Declan Rice, that is a Paulinho. People are talking about Onana from Everton. Like I said, I think there's deficiencies on the ball, but again, profile-wise, in terms of getting about the pitch and being physical, he's like a poor man's version of them, but he can do it. So I think Kobbie needs to be playing further up. That's where he does his best work. But it's about the partnerships now. It's about building for the future and really looking at that midfield and saying, right, what is it we're going to need to unlock Kobbie and give him all the tools and resources that he needs to go and impact the games for us? Because once we do that, then once we get that balance right, because the balance is awful right now. The balance is awful from tactics in midfield and also profile and personnel. Casemiro cannot do it. There was a time yesterday where I think it was quite funny, actually, looking back. Luis Diaz picked up the ball on a counter-attack, and there was a massive gap for him to just run it. It was just him versus Casemiro. I don't know if you guys saw it. And I looked at it and go, he's going straight past Casemiro. And Luis Diaz knows it, and Casemiro knows it, and everyone in the stadium knows it. That's exactly what he did. Casemiro didn't even try. Just whoop, straight past him. I think Bruno tried to get involved in the duel as well. Whoop, straight past him. And Kobbie was already caught further up. Because Kobbie didn't actually have his best game, actually. He hasn't in the last couple of games. He's been giving the ball away a couple of times, been a little bit more sloppy, but it's part of the learning development for him. And then, you know, Diaz was just running. And I think it was Cambuala who managed to get a block in, or Harry Maguire, who those two yesterday were absolutely brilliant, considering how much that happened. How many times did they have, you know, an Alexis McAllister bearing down on them because he's beaten a non-existent Manchester United midfield, or Liverpool have opened us up with one pass. You know, he was brilliant on the half turn, and then all of a sudden he's in. Cody Gakpo did it a couple of times when he came on. Luis Diaz did it a couple of times when he drifted into central areas and could drive with the ball. Harvey Elliott was starting to do it. They was having a field day doing it. So Willy Cambuala and Maguire really had to face a lot of pressure because of the midfield just not being there. So, yeah, building this midfield, Kobbie Mainoo, for me, must be further forward. He must have the right partner who can dominate, who's physical, who can cover a lot of grass. And if we do that, and then you're looking at the Bruno situation of what's going to happen with him long term. But we've got a chance. We've got a chance. We've got such a great player there. And you talk about big moments. You know, he just does things with absolute ease and a composure that I've just not seen for a long time. In a player so young. You don't want to do the Rooneys and the, you know, the Gerrards and the Lampards when these players come onto the scene really young, and how good they were, and what they were doing at that age. And you look at what Jude Bellingham was doing at his age, and you don't just want to say Kobbie's like them, Kobbie's going to be like them. You really don't. You don't want to do that too early. But off of what we're seeing, off of what we're seeing with the eye test, he's got minerals that and attributes that other 18-year-olds just do not have. They just don't have it. It's as simple as that. So we've got to be on it. We've got to help Kobbie. We've got to build a midfield around him for the future. Let me know what you guys are thinking about his best position. Drop a like on the video. Let me know in the comments what you're saying about this Kobbie situation, how we can get the best out of him for the future of Man United. I'm out of here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Peace.